You're an accountant in Phoenix. 34 years old, CPA license, 8 years at a mid-sized firm doing tax returns and audits for small businesses. You're good at numbers, always have been. Ever since your father taught you to balance the books at his dry cleaning shop when you were 12. Numbers make sense. Numbers don't lie. Numbers are the one thing in your life that's never disappointed you. The firm loses a major client and has to downsize. You're not the last one hired, but you're not essential either. They let you go with 2-week severance and a letter of recommendation that won't pay your mortgage. You've got a wife, a 3-year-old daughter, and a house in Scottsdale that costs $3,200 a month. Your savings will last maybe 4 months. The job market is brutal. A former client reaches out. He ran a chain of car washes you did the books for. Legitimate business, nothing unusual. He says he has friends who need accounting help. Specialized work, he calls it. Cash-intensive businesses, complex structures, the kind of work that pays well because it requires discretion. He's offering $15,000 a month to start. You meet his friends at a restaurant in Mesa. They're polite, professional, wearing suits that cost more than your car. They explain what they need. Someone who can make money clean. Someone who can turn cash into deposits, deposits into investments, investments into legitimate wealth. Someone who understands the systems well enough to exploit them. You know what they're asking. The word they don't use is laundering. The organizations they don't name are cartels. You should walk away. You should report the meeting to someone. FBI, DEA, anyone. But you're also looking at your phone, at the text from your wife asking if you found anything yet, at the mortgage payment that's due in 3 weeks. $15,000 a month would solve everything. $15,000 a month would save your family. You say yes. The man who used to own car washes smiles like he knew you would. The work starts simple. They bring you cash, duffel bags of it, hundreds of thousands at a time. Bills that smell like ink and sweat and something chemical you don't want to identify. Your job is to make it disappear into the legitimate economy, to transform physical currency into digital entries that can move through banking systems without raising flags. You start with the basics. Structuring deposits to avoid the $10,000 reporting threshold. Smurfing money through dozens of accounts opened by people you'll never meet. Using cash-intensive businesses as fronts where large cash deposits are normal and expected. The car washes were just the beginning. They own laundromats where machines run empty, but the books show full capacity. Restaurants where the receipts don't match the inventory, but nobody checks because who audits a taco shop? Used car lots where vehicles sell for twice their value and the buyers don't exist. Nail salons where every chair is occupied on paper and empty in reality. Any business where cash transactions are normal and volume is hard to verify becomes a washing machine for dirty money. You're good at it. Of course you're good at it. You spent 8 years learning how money moves through systems, how regulators look for fraud, how audits work, and where they miss things. You know the Bank Secrecy Act requirements. You know what triggers SARs, suspicious activity reports. You know the gaps because you used to look for them from the other side, trying to catch clients who were cheating. Now you're exploiting those same gaps, turning dirty money into clean investments, building paper trails that lead nowhere and everywhere at once. The first month, you clean $400,000. They pay you $15,000 plus a bonus for efficiency. You've moved money faster than they expected, with fewer losses to the process. The second month, it's $600,000. The third, you redesign their entire front business structure, creating a network of LLCs that can process twice the volume with half the risk. By month 6, you're handling over $1 million in cash per cycle, moving it through shell companies and offshore accounts and real estate purchases that would take investigators years to unravel. You've become infrastructure. You've become essential. You've become something the cartel can't easily replace. Your wife notices the change. The mortgage gets paid, not just current, but ahead. The credit cards get paid off. The balances that have been accumulating since the layoff disappearing in a single statement cycle. You buy her a new car, a Lexus SUV she's been looking at for years, tell her you found consulting work that pays better than the firm ever did. She's relieved, grateful, happy in a way she hasn't been since the day you came home with a cardboard box of desk supplies and a severance check that wouldn't cover one mortgage payment. She doesn't ask questions. She doesn't want to know where the money comes from or what you do all day in the home office you've set up. The not asking becomes its own kind of complicity, a silence you share without ever discussing it. Sometimes you catch her looking at you with something in her eyes. Not suspicion exactly, more like the deliberate choice not to be suspicious. She's protecting herself from knowledge she doesn't want to have. You understand? You're doing the same thing. Year 1. You've moved $8 million through your systems. Year 1. You've moved $8 million through your systems. You've created a network of LLCs and trusts that spans 3 states and 2 countries. You've learned the rhythms of the organization. When cash flows heavy, when it slows down, how the cycles of product and profit translate into numbers you can manipulate. You're not just a launderer anymore. You're a financial architect, designing structures that protect wealth built on cocaine and heroin and human suffering. You don't think about the suffering. That's the trick. Compartmentalization, the same skill that got you through tax season every year. The money is just numbers. Numbers don't have origins. Numbers don't have victims. You move them from column A to column B, and if column A was filled by human misery, that's not your department. Your department is making sure the IRS never asks questions about column B. The organization trusts you. That's dangerous, but it's also valuable. They invite you to meetings, let you see how the business actually works. You learn about supply chains and distribution networks and the constant pressure of competition. You learn about the violence. Not directly, never directly, but in the gaps between conversations, the names that stop being mentioned, the problems that get solved without explanation. You're close enough to the machine to understand what it does. You're not close enough to get your hands dirty. That's how they want it. That's how you want it too. Year 2. Your daughter is 5 now, starting kindergarten, coming home with paintings and stories about her new friends. You pick her up sometimes when your schedule allows, standing in the carpool line with the other parents, pretending you're one of them. They're lawyers and doctors and marketing executives. You're an accountant who launders money for a drug cartel. The difference is invisible. The difference is everything. You buy a bigger house. Your wife is pregnant again. A son, the ultrasound says. You furnish a nursery with money that came from somewhere you'll never know and don't want to know. You're building a life on a foundation of lies, and the lies are so comfortable that they've started to feel like truth. This is who you are now. This is what you do. The man who filed tax returns at a mid-sized firm is a stranger you barely remember. The first sign of trouble comes in year 3. A federal investigation, not into you, into one of the businesses you've been using as a front. A nail salon in Tempe, flagged for suspicious transaction patterns. You didn't make a mistake. The algorithm that caught it is new, something the Treasury Department rolled out to catch exactly the kind of structuring you've been doing. The game is evolving. The regulators are getting smarter. You adapt. You always adapt. That's what makes you valuable. You shift the operation to different fronts, diversify the methods, add layers of complexity that will buy time, even if investigators start pulling threads. You're playing chess with the federal government, and so far, you're winning. But winning isn't permanent. Winning is just what happens before losing. Your handler, a man named Delgado, who you've come to think of as almost a friend, warns you that the organization is concerned. Not about your work. Your work is excellent. But about the heat in general, the increased scrutiny, the FBI task forces that have been dismantling networks across the Southwest. They want you to be more careful. They also want you to expand. More volume, faster turnaround, higher risk. The contradictions are impossible to resolve. You do your best. Year 4. Your son is 2. Your daughter is 7. Your wife is talking about private schools and summer camps and the kind of future that costs money you can only earn by doing what you do. The trap has closed so gradually you didn't notice it happening. You can't go back to legitimate work. Who would hire you after a 4-year gap with no verifiable employment? You can't stop. The organization doesn't let people stop. Not people who know what you know. You can only keep going, keep cleaning, keep building the structures that turn blood into balance sheets. A client of the organization gets arrested. A mid-level distributor who knows too much, who might talk to save himself. Delgado mentions it casually, then mentions that the problem has been resolved. You understand what resolved means. You've understood for years. But this time, the understanding feels different. This time, you're close enough to the violence to smell it. You start keeping records, not to report. You're not brave enough for that, and you have too much to lose. But as insurance, as leverage, as something you can trade if everything falls apart. You document transactions, photograph deposits, create a paper trail that leads directly to the organization's leadership. You store it in places they don't know about. Encrypted drives, safe deposit boxes, a server in American investigators. You're building a dead man's switch. You hope you'll never have to use it. Year 5. The FBI approaches you at a Starbucks near your office. 2 agents, polite, professional, badges displayed just long enough for you to understand this isn't a social call. They show you photographs of people you recognize. Delgado, his bosses, the men at the top of an organization you've helped build into a financial fortress. They know who you work for. They know what you do. They've been building a case for 18 months, tracing money through the very structures you created. And you're not the target. You're the key. They want you to cooperate. They want you to turn. The offer is straightforward, delivered with the calm professionalism of people who make these offers regularly. Full immunity for your crimes. Witness protection for your family. New identities, new location, new life in a place where the cartel can't find you. Your wife would have to know everything. The lies, the money, the 5 years of building a life on a foundation of human suffering. Your children would have to leave their schools, their friends, everything they've ever known. You'd become ghosts, haunting a life that used to be yours, starting over in a place where nobody knows your name because your name no longer exists. You ask for time to think. They give you 48 hours. They leave a card with a number and a warning. Don't talk to anyone. Don't change your routine. Don't do anything that might alert the organization. As if you'd know how to act normal with this weight in your chest. You don't sleep that night. You lie next to your wife in the bed you bought with cartel money, in the house you bought with cartel money, in the life you built with cartel money, listening to her breathe and wondering if she'll ever breathe next to you again. You think about your daughter, 7 years old, innocent of everything except having a father who made the wrong choice when the right choice was too hard. You think about your son, 2 years old, who won't remember this life if you leave it now, who might grow up without the burden of knowing what his father did. You think about Delgado, who will know immediately if you cooperate. The organization has sources everywhere, in law enforcement, in the courts, in the very agencies that are supposed to protect witnesses. You think about what resolved means and how quickly you could become a problem that needs resolving. You think about your family finding you the way Delgado's enemies have been found, or worse, not finding you at all. You call the FBI the next morning. You agree to cooperate. The alternative is waiting for the organization to fall, for your name to appear on a list, for Delgado to get a phone call about the accountant who knows too much. At least this way, you control the ending. At least this way, your family has a chance. The extraction happens 3 days later. Your wife learns everything in a hotel room, surrounded by federal agents. The money, the cartel, the 5 years of lies that paid for her car, and her house, and her children's future. She doesn't speak to you for 6 hours. When she finally does, she asks one question. Was any of it real? You don't have an answer. You're not sure anymore what real means. Your daughter asks why they're leaving. You tell her it's an adventure, a new place, a fresh start. She's old enough to know you're lying. She's young enough to pretend she believes you. Your son doesn't ask anything. He's 2. He just holds your hand and looks out the window of the car that's taking you away from everything. The testimony takes 8 months. You explain every transaction, every structure, every method you used to clean money for an organization that killed people and destroyed communities and called it business. The prosecutors build cases from your blueprints. The arrests come in waves. Delgado first, then his bosses, then the network you helped construct over 5 years of meticulous work. You watch the news from a safe house in a state you've never visited, seeing faces you recognize being led away in handcuffs. They relocate you to the Midwest. New name, new history, new job at a small accounting firm that handles tax returns for local businesses. The work is boring. The work is honest. The work pays $62,000 a year, less than half of what the cartel paid you per month. You live in a 3-bedroom house that's half the size of your old one. Your daughter goes to public school. Your son won't remember there was ever anything else. Your wife stays. You weren't sure she would, but she stays. She says it's for the children, but sometimes at night she reaches for your hand, and you think maybe it's for something else too. The marriage is different now, quieter, more careful, built on the knowledge of what you did and the choice you made to stop. The trust isn't gone, but it's been reconstructed, brick by brick, from something that was shattered. You still think about money. You still see it the way you were trained to see it. Flows and structures, patterns and opportunities. The difference is what you do with what you see. The difference is choosing boring over lucrative, honest over profitable, the kind of life that doesn't require compartmentalization to survive. Your daughter is 12 now. She remembers Phoenix, remembers the old house, remembers the day